I'm not dreading an empty nest because Marilyn's in that nest with me.
And it's actually healthy for our kids not to think they're the center of the world.
2/3 of marriages suffer a lack of marital satisfaction with kids. Interestingly, the other third. Welcome to the Grace Marriage Podcast. I'm Brad Rhoads.
And I'm Marilyn Rhoads. We're here to help you build a marriage that's stronger, more connected, and full of grace.
I'm Rick Dayton, joining Brad and Marilyn as we bring you weekly conversations designed to inspire and equip you to live intentionally in your marriage.
We'll share practical tips, powerful stories, and strategies to help you and your spouse grow closer and thrive together.
So whether you're just starting out or have been married for years, there's always room to grow. Let's do this together. This is the Grace Marriage Podcast.
Children are, without question, a gift from God. However, they may not always be the best thing for your marriage. What do we mean by that? Let's find out today as we visit with Brad and Marilyn from Grace Marriage and talk about the trouble that children can sometimes create in having the best and most healthy marriage. I'm Rick Dayton. Thanks for being with us. Brad, Marilyn, let's jump into this because we are really at a time in our culture where it seems that the only thing that parents care about is their kids. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, don't take this the wrong way. But they maybe care more about their kids than they care about their marriage, than they care about their parents, than they care about their career, than they care about their friendships, than they care about their church. That we have somehow managed to get to a position where our kids matter more than anything else. Marilyn, how did we get here? Do you have any idea how we got? Because it wasn't, I know it's going to sound like that grumpy old man, get off my lawn kind of thing, but it wasn't that way when we grew up.
It was not.
And why has it changed? How has it changed?
I do think our culture has fed this to us. I think we see it on social media. We see, just as a mom, like I see people cooking from scratch and only feed your kids healthy, it's a modern day black hole, all you could do to be a better parent. And a mentor said that to us, and that was so helpful to me. And I thought it was freeing to hear that because I thought I feel guilty all the time because if I'm studying with them, I feel guilty I'm not playing with them. If I'm playing, but then we've just created this expectation in our culture that we can't meet. There's no way. And then, so I wouldn't say that Brad is less important than the kids, but often, what are my actions showing? What are my actions as a culture showing? They wouldn't say that, but if all the time, all of your energy is spent at work or your kids, and then you have nothing left for your spouse, then they're not as important as your kids.
Brad, do you hear this? Do people come in and, and whether they acknowledge it when they walk through the door or whether they say it when they're talking to you and to Marilyn. I mean, do you hear this? Is this a repetitive notion?
It's very repetitive, and it's actually research. In the Gottman research, it shows like 2/3 of marriages experience a significant drop in marital satisfaction when kids come on the scene. Because what happened is kids will squeeze out time together. They'll squeeze out good marital rhythms. They'll squeeze out those things. So people don't really see it happening, but all of a sudden, they're not giving each other attention. They're not being creative with one another. All their energy is going to their kids, and they're not taking time for one another, which actually hurts their marriage, hurts them as parents, and is bad for their kids.
You've also got travel sports. That's a new phenomenon in the last, how many years? 20, 30 years? Right. That wasn't, when we were growing up,
You played Little League, you played in the youth basketball, you played in a Catholic league or whatever it was, and that was good enough.
Back then, you had to be elite to do travel sports because you had to try to find competition. Now you have to have a pulse to do travel sports.
Right. Well, and the reality is that the money is not necessarily helping the kid as much as it may be helping a team organization too.
Well, and it's very expensive, and the relational cost because a lot of families have more than one kid, so it divides the parents. So you'll have one parent going to one city, another to another city, one staying home holding down the fort, the other one's taking them here. It really creates a lot of chaos, and it really hurts marriage.
We have 3 sons, and all 3 of them ended up playing their chosen sport through college. We were very, very fortunate in terms of being able to watch them play. And yet we made a decision when they were in high school that rather than doing the travel baseball, because all 3 of them were baseball players. I mean, there was one year that Jenny went through and she added up the number of baseball games that the 3 of them played in a year. Guesses?
I can't imagine.
What do you guess? 3 kids.
82.
70.
205. 205 baseball games in one calendar year because they played in the spring. They played, then in their rec league, they played in the summers, and they played, they had fall ball or whatever.
And that doesn't
but you
count
had 3
practice.
kids. It doesn't count practice. Those were games. There were 205 games. And you kind of look at that and you say, what in the world are we doing? But the reality is they say, well, we want to play in college. Okay, well, that's great. But we had somebody come to us and say, don't do the travel league. They said there's this group over in Youngstown, which was an hour away, which is not close. But the reality was they would play 5 games a week in Youngstown, Ohio, and we were in Pittsburgh. We could do that. We never went to Tennessee. We didn't go to Florida. We didn't go to Mississippi. We didn't go to Missouri. How many times did we go to Tennessee for travel baseball? It gets rained out and you turn around and you go home. Well, guess what? You still drove 400 miles to Tennessee. You still spent 3 nights in a hotel to not play a single baseball game and turn around and go home. You're out. By playing in Youngstown, you knew if you got rained out, that's fine. You're going to find it was west of us. We got rained out before we even left the house. I mean, it made sense. We didn't have to run around. We still spent a lot of money on it, but not the same way that people do now.
And your boys are the exception because very few kids play college athletics.
Very few even get to high school teams, right?
And a buddy of mine insightfully said, we've decided we're not going to sacrifice our entire life in hopes that our daughter be an above average high school soccer player.
Yeah.
My son,
right.
Props to him, but he's like 6'3", 6'4", pretty good basketball player. He said, Dad, I love basketball, but I'm not willing to give my life to it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, because it is now, we have created a norm in youth sports. It kind of requires a year-round deal.
Yep.
And we want couples to have not child-centric homes, but marriage-centric homes.
Yeah.
So it's like, we need to make sure that, God's order is that, marriage is important, and that's what raises the kids in God's way. So you have to make sure that core relationship is solid to serve your kids well.
Well,
and the result is the divorce rates are higher when kids leave the home and they're empty nesters. What's the statistic on that?
I think the research is like the divorce rate for those 50 and above is doubled, 65 and above is tripled.
the gray divorce is what they're calling
Exactly.
it, right? That people get to that point. I had heard something, and I want you to sort of rein me in if this is wrong, but that the most likely times for marriages to fail is after 3 years, after 7 years, and after 21 years. 3 years, you just decide, you know what, this isn't working. We're into it. We're just not willing to invest. We walk away. 7 years, kids have come along, right? Maybe you've been married 5 years. You got a 2-year-old. You got another one. And this is just way too hard. 21, the kids have oftentimes started to go away, and you realize we spent 21 years. We don't know each other. We don't even necessarily like each other anymore. We didn't date. We didn't do the things that we've been talking about. And that does that sound about right? Or are those numbers a little bit different now than what they used to be?
It varies. I mean, I think the 21-year one would be a lot more accurate because when you have a child-centric home and then the kids leave, and that's hard, it's a difficult transition, but you don't have much of a relationship to fall back on. You're both grieving.
Right.
You both have a lot of change, but you really don't have a relationship to pull on. Contention and then trouble. And when the kids aren't here, there's, in some people's minds, there's not a big
Not a pick-me-up, right?
Yeah, there's not a big enough reason to stay together. So, but the thing is, it's a drift. So what occurs, people get married, and life tends to get more complex, not less complex. You get a job, you have kids, the kids get into youth sports. So things get busier.
Or drama or
Right.
Band or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you spend a little less time together. You talk a little less. And over time, you slowly drift apart. Then you find yourself in a place you never thought you would be. And you fight that drift by saying, we will prioritize our marriage above our children and above other things. And we will have a healthy, vibrant marriage that is the fuel for the health of our kids, our youth, and the atmosphere of our home.
And it's actually healthy for our kids not to think they're the center of the world. We're seeing that as well, of watching this young culture grow up and so self-focused. And part of that's our fault as parents. We've allowed them to be the center
We
of
have
the
taught
world.
them to be the center of the world.
Yes.
We really have.
My mentor said, he said, the reason our younger generation sometimes struggled is everybody's at all their stuff. They're the center of everything. They're so important. They get out of college and realize nobody cares. Now that's a tough adjustment. They go to work and it's like nobody's coming to watch them work. Nobody's calling them about work every day. And he said, it's just too difficult to transition. And we fell into it a little bit because we felt initially we had to be at everything to be good parents. So my daughter had a soccer game in Murray. It's 2 hours away. And my mentor asked me, he said, what are you doing this weekend? I said, I'm going to Murray to watch a soccer game. He said, why are you doing that? I said, because my daughter has one. He goes, why don't you stay home with Marilyn and your other kids? I'm like, I'm allowed to miss it? He goes, absolutely. I stayed home, and he said, Brad, just let her tell you about the game when she gets back. And it completely changed our weekend and actually changed things going forward, because then we felt like we could have a stable, vibrant family and not be running like crazy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
From a counseling standpoint, from a social work standpoint, we know the dangers of parents that aren't present in a child's life, right? We know that if there's a mom who was died in childbirth and is not there, that child's life is very, very different than a dad that's not present, deadbeat dad, whatever the situation is. Sometimes when they're both there, it's the smothering that can also be very problematic as well. Is that stuff that you talked about when you're going through a master's program, that you're talking about in social work circles and counseling circles? Is that been looked at the same way a non-present parent has been talked about?
It is not. I did not see that at the time, no. I don't think we talk about this enough. And I think it's actually healthy. We want to be there, of course, for our kids and go to a lot of their things, but it is good for them to see, hey, it's okay that you can't make it to this game. We had 5 kids. If we went to everything all the time, we would have never crossed paths. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to be selfless as children.
And actually, over-parenting is actually something that's more exalted than criticized. So if you're at all your parents, everything, wow, they're the best parent.
Yep.
And yes, they do love their kids, but it's imbalanced. It's imbalanced. It's not a marriage-centric home that's best for the kids. It becomes a child-centric home that's really not best for the kids.
I think we naturally overcorrect for problems. We're just we naturally go to extremes. If something wasn't healthy, we go to the opposite extreme, but the extreme on the other side probably isn't healthy either.
Isn't good either. I know that
moderation.
Some of the episodes that we had 2 early on. I think it was episodes 5 and 6 with Jameson, Annie Winston. If Edwards, excuse me. If you missed that, it's important to go back, because Jameson said something I thought was really powerful. He talked about worshiping. He's a pastor of a church, that worshiping at the altar of the church, right? That sometimes we put building a church as a pastor, they put that in a different light, that's the most important thing. How can we get more people? How can we bring more people in? How can we have more programs for them, etc.? But that idea of worshiping at an altar of a child, right? Of our kids, or of a church, or of a job, or of a certain car, or whatever it is, that is a dangerous word. I mean, that's where we're crossing the line. That's where we've gone too far. How do we remove that from our day? That we're not worshiping what our children do. We're not worshiping our children. We need to love them. We need to support them. We need to raise them, etc., but not worship them.
Well, and when you develop a really good marriage and a really close relationship with the Lord, it makes things more balanced, because there's not such a need to be, inappropriately just enmeshed in your child's life. So when our kids went to college, we've had 3 go away to college. It's been hard, but at the same time, it hasn't been that hard, because we have so much fun together. And we've created an atmosphere of the home. We still stay in touch. They call a lot, and that's wonderful. But I'm not dreading an empty nest, because Marilyn's in that nest with me. But if we're not investing in marriage and the kids leave, I'm gonna dread the empty nest, because it's gonna be an empty nest.
And the whole house is gonna feel empty, right? Because you're so used to that distraction.
But I don't think we'll miss them, but my house isn't gonna feel empty when all our kids are gone. Because there's going to be joy in life in our relationship, from dating each week, from spending time together, from having a marriage-centric, not a child-centric home. And our kids they complain about it, but they do appreciate it. I mean, they're funny. I mean, they've set our phone alarm off on a date. They complain, but I think that the security they feel in knowing that I'm crazy about their mom, and their mom likes me most of the time, it's helpful.
Marilyn, is this harder for women than for men? This idea, I mean, you're the nurturer, you're the caregiver, you're the one who nursed the baby, you birthed the baby, right? I mean, so for women, is it harder for women than for men, this issue that our kids are our everything?
I think in general it is. I think it's harder for me to step away than Brad to step away, for sure, with our kids. But I also think our family of origins come into play in that. So it's not always the woman, but sometimes it can be the husband can struggle with that more than the wife. I've seen it play both ways.
It's a conscience issue too. Like, our first baby was colicky, and so she cried for 6 straight months. I mean, it was crazy. And we'd go on a date. Like, I couldn't wait to get away from her. And Marilyn felt terrible getting away from her.
Yeah.
So we'd be on a date 2 hours. Marilyn's like, we got to get back. I'm like, we got to stay as long. I mean, like, we would call the sitter and we would hear Madeline wailing in the
We
background.
couldn't keep a sitter.
They just wouldn't come back.
But when we would hear Madeline wailing in the background, Marilyn's thinking we got to get home, and I'm thinking that's a reason not to go home.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different dynamic. A lot of it's
That's when we found the family and started.
a lot of it's conscience. A lot of it's the conscience piece too. I mean, Marilyn's a big nurturer. So she feels guilty pretty easy. So, but once we got in the rhythm of it, I don't think it was too hard for you.
It is freeing when you hear this, when people hear that it's okay to miss a kid's event. You're not going to hurt them. It might actually be helpful. If they know you love them. I think in our culture, we've made it really clear, and kids are, there are neglected kids, and that is a problem that absolutely needs to be addressed. But for a lot of us, our kids aren't neglected. Our marriages are. And so we need to make sure that's not happening.
Do you all do family meetings? Do you do family meetings with the kids? We always did them on Sunday night. Around the table, we always had a family meeting. We would say that's the only time you're allowed to have your phones at the table or whatever, because calendars, we sync them all together, et cetera. And so we said, okay, on Monday, this is what we've got. On Tuesday, we're doing this. And we're not going to have dinner at home on Wednesday because mom's got choir that night. And so we're going to, whatever. That was our, do you all do that? Do you talk through things with your kids and say, this is sort of what the week looks like? And I'm not going to be able to be there because we've got date night that. I mean,
I love what
you do
did.
that?
I love that you did, but we have family meetings only when our house gets so chaotic. We get mad, bring everybody in the lecture room.
And that's why that's why we did them, so it didn't get. I mean, that was. Sort of
I like your family meeting thing. We do
a little bit. We weren't as structured. It wasn't family meetings on Sunday nights, but we did sync our calendars and we would talk about what we had for the week.
Right.
Yeah.
We still do that a little bit, but not as ordered.
And we had to, because we with 5 kids and all kinds of different things. I mean, I've gotten calls from coaches like, it's dark. Is somebody going to come get your kid?
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah.
Right.
I'll come.
What day is it?
Yeah.
Which kid?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So as we move forward, are there pieces of advice that you can share with young parents? They've got a 2-year-old, they've got a 6-year-old. Are there things that Brad, you would say to dads, Marilyn, you would say to moms, or vice versa, that will sort of help them to put this in the right priority? What do you say? What advice do you give?
Protect the asset. Like, you're the parent. You're very important. Your marriage is very important. So take care of yourself. Exercise, get sleep, date, do those things. Play the long game with your kids so they get the best of you. Mm-hmm. So like I tell people, the best thing you can do for a good mom is get her away from her kids and let her just be refreshed in relationship or whatever refreshes her. So a lot of folks, they just live fatigued. Mm-hmm. They're like, wow, I get mad at my kids. I raise my voice for my kids. I'm not a good parent. I'm not a good this. But they never get space and margin away to really settle down. And when you're overtaxed, you just, when I've raised my voice to the kids the most, it's when I've gotten overtaxed, overstimulated, and I'm fatigued.
That is something that we did learn to do, is give each other breaks. And just, I wouldn't expect Brad to know I needed one. I'd be like, look, I need a breather. And we would take turns. I'd be like, hey, you go take some space. Tag team and get.
So does that mean at that point you take all 5 and you just go take a run?
Yes.
Or even shut the door and the bathroom door and say, look, nobody can touch mom's bedroom for the next 3 hours. Period.
Mm-hmm. And then you would just go read or you would sleep or whatever you wanted to do. Yeah.
It's amazing what a little bit of time and space can do for your spirit and your attitude towards your spouse and your kids. Mm-hmm. It changes everything. So that is something we did learn to do for each other.
Take one for the team.
Take one for the team. You go. And we've taken turns.
Yeah.
And it's that's worked well. That's worked well for us. We call it the day off trade-off. We've done that before.
Got it.
We've done
Got
that,
it.
but it's.
Children obviously are critically important and they can bring us great joy, but obviously they can be a wedge sometimes, right? And we just need to protect our marriages, is what I hear you saying, in order for that to be there.
Remember earlier in the show, I said 2/3 of marriages suffer a lack of marital satisfaction with kids. Interestingly, the other third, I think the Gottman research showed an increase of marital satisfaction because they would continue their good marital rhythms, but bring in the joys and great kids that bring so much life and good into your life. So when you order things right, kids are an add to your marriage and family.
Yeah, there's a lot of wonderful things that are out there. And if you want to know more about making a great marriage, you can do that through Grace Marriage, and we ask you to come back and join us again next week. Hey, if you've got some funny stories about things that have happened and ways that you've dealt with kids, please reach out. Go ahead and tag us on this. Let us know what's going on, and that way we can respond to you. Maybe we'll share your story on the air and let somebody else know about what happened with you. Sometimes we just got to let our kids figure it out on their own, but obviously we want to be there to be their parents at the same time. We'll see you next time around right back here on the Grace Marriage Podcast.
Thank you for joining us on the Grace Marriage Podcast. We really hope you're feeling inspired to take intentional steps to grow in your marriage.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us spread the message of grace and reach even more couples.
And if you have a moment, please leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us and helps others discover the podcast.
To learn more about how you can grow in your marriage, visit us at gracemarriage.com. Keep building stronger, grace-filled marriages.
We'll see you next week on the Grace Marriage Podcast. Until then, keep growing in grace.